I have faith that the Constitution will not be saved in Washington.
To develop enduring faith and enduring commitment to be a full tithe payer is essential. Initially, it takes faith to tithe. Then the tithe payer develops more faith to the point that tithing becomes a precious privilege. Tithing is an ancient law from God. He made a promise to his children that he would open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Not only that, tithing will keep your name enrolled among the people of God and protect you in the day of vengeance and burning. In the coming day, Jesus Christ will return to the earth as the millennial Messiah, or the second coming.
Try this one, good soul. Wicked people are easily identified by wanting to take away the agency of others. And one of the Book of Mormon's teachings, which is all throughout the Book of Mormon, is that such persons not only complain about others taking away agency when they're not, but it's so that they can then take over as the leader of the community, so that they can then take away your agency, justifying that it's for your own protection. Easily identifying an enemy. And yet for some reason, these enemies also have the tactic of causing anarchy, so that the people cry out for a new form of government to take away their agency. And then they step in, here we are, we've got the solution, when they were the cause. Evil is evil for a reason. Hell. And so I see I'm being cyber terrorized by an enemy who's trying to take away my agency, who thinks that they're hidden so that I won't know who they are. This is a special Trump ICE 2025 religious warning video for you guys. Let's get my papers out, since I'm doing a video. So there really wasn't much in the news yesterday and pretty much over the weekend. But there's some things that apply to the introduction theme or object lesson for you. The first is that the Pope has been sent home to the Vatican, but he's bedridden. It had already been released that the Pope did not want to die outside of the Vatican. All popes want to die in the Vatican. It's like Mormons who have told me over the years that they hope that they would die in a temple during a session. It's kind of creepy, but nonetheless understandable with the brainwashing that occurs. It's a symbolic gesture on the part of the extremist, ultra-fascist believers. And so I'm not convinced that the Pope is out of the woods and is getting better. But, if he is, great. So he likely won't die at the same time as Nelson, who's also on his deathbed. But I can still see him coming home and telling the press and the people that he's getting better, he's going home, so everybody doesn't have to worry, and then he dies, and conclave. I did see that there were other people who did that joke for late night comedy. He was promoting conclave. He never did support Da Vinci Code. That was a previous guy, but nonetheless. No support for Da Vinci Code. No support. Curtis, Utah's own, was interviewed. I think it was NBC. And he declared that they're gonna tamper with Social Security. And he tried to word it trickily. We are not, using multiple negatives to try to deceive. Bastard. You need to understand, I've got over 8.5K videos. I've been doing warning videos the whole latter days. We're winding down, Mormons. You've missed the latter days. When Nelson came out in like 2019 or so, finally confessing, these are the latter days. You didn't really pay attention, did you? You waited until you heard from others a month after conference in October last year to learn that Nelson announced, Jesus is coming in a coming day. Not a single one of you watched my video covering it on that day. Y'all went to Oaks. It is sad that Mormons think that if they just ignore something, it'll go away. That makes you the enemy. I have not gone away. No, no, no. Despite the cyber terrorism, he keeps cyber terrorizing me. He is a coward, hiding in his mommy's basement down there in Utah County. Can't get a date because he chose to be a computer geek. To get back of all the jocks who bullied him, hung him by his underwear on the flagpole, spit on him, said he's a loser. He's showing me who had nothing to do with any of that. It's like my brother thinking I'm responsible for his bullying in high school, ignoring the fact that when my sister pointed it out to me, we went to see who was doing it and chased them away. Oh crap, Travis is there. Run. You're welcome, bastard. Text me in 2023 on my birthday. Because the church ordered him to do so. And so the reason why Trump is destroying all federal agencies and is stopping all funding programs, firing everybody, is for a specific reason. And Mormons had the inside track into knowing what. And you're not watching my channel, so you're completely unaware of the danger you are in that I've been warning all this time. Well, nobody warned us. Are you sure you want to go there? Are you sure? Because I've estimated that there have been 500,000 individuals who have come to one video of mine over all these years. Where are you? None of you have an excuse to claim ignorance. Just like Mitt Romney said after Trump won the election, if you voted for Trump, you've got nothing to complain about. And yet they're all complaining now, aren't you? You don't listen. You think that the consequences won't happen. You were sung the primary hymn repeatedly as a kid. Because they were trying to brainwash the kids into being good. Do what is right, do what is right, do what is right, do what is right, do what is right. Oh, sorry, kids. It was on repeat. Time for a closing prayer. Billy, you've been extra anxious. You say it. Well, what is that? Come on, Billy. Jesus is sad when you don't obey him. I don't like Jesus. He's mean. Billy, blasphemy. Go to see your bishop. gets me out of here. I have so many stories to tell. So many. So many. Oh my God. I watched in church as a father pinched his daughter to make her cry so that he can take her out. Oh my hell. Third Nephi chapter 7. The people were divided one against another, and they did separate one from another, and thus they did destroy the government of the land. The regulations of the government were destroyed because of the secret combinations. And it came to pass in that year that they were divided. Those who had entered into a covenant to destroy the government. Now, even if you don't believe the Book of Mormon is Jewish, as it says it is, and you don't believe Joseph Smith that the Book of Mormon is Jewish, as he says it is, and you don't believe the Bible to be Jewish, as it says it is, you still are aware of President Ezra Taft Benson, who came out and said that the Book of Mormon first coming to America is a direct parallel to the events of the second coming of Jesus to America. Never mind the fact that he denies prophecy and revelation. But Mormons should therefore accept that this is exactly what Benson was referring to that is going on right now. Trump is destroying the federal government, having the states run their own government. Even though this is not in that long list that a seminary teacher made. There's a lot of stuff that is missing from that list. And so, when you follow my channel, or for some reason you learned how to do independent research and stumbled across it, as over 100,000 Mormons have already, and didn't have a single clue what it meant. Because it was actually done before conference. But I didn't find it, I think, until after conference. And I think even after the two tabernacles, holy days of the Jews, But despite not having a chronological timeline of events of when I found things, or when others found things, everybody knows Dallin H. Oaks that got leaked from the missionary president meeting, Las Vegas, Nevada, Saturday, March 14th, 2020, regardless of whether you know that that's when it was, and if you even have your own version of the quote from the Mormon who made it popular and thus was recommended to me. Because YouTube tends to do that. When you start getting over 1,000 views, YouTube begins to recommend your videos. And so I start seeing my videos when I'm not signed in on the initial homepage of YouTube. And so that's when I know that I'm about to be cyber terrorized by the Mormon YouTube employee in his mommy's basement in Utah County. Without fail. It's been happening for years. I see the patterns. And so Mormons, yeah, they get recommended. Until I expose them in a video, and then they disappear. Yep. It's fun to play with evil. They think they're so smart. This is not the end of the world. And I'm the only guy who figured out that this is chiasmus. Where are the billions of people going, whoa, Oaks used chiasmus? But merely a test. A trial run for the second coming. End of the world, second coming. Merely a test, trial run. Chiasmus in English. And so the Book of Mormon makes it very clear that the enemy is not Jesus. Especially if you believe it's literal history. The first coming of Jesus to the Americas did not burn everybody with his glory. It is very clear that the enemy formed a coup of the government to destroy it. And then natural disasters occurred with no federal agencies to assist. And then Jesus comes from outer space without a horse. He's supposed to have a horse. Why don't we give him a horse? Horses are awesome. And people are able to see and touch them. See, Travis? Non-Trinitarian, not Jewish. Oh, Mormons. Mormons. And so when Joseph Smith in his second vision adds to Malachi, and tells you he's adding to Malachi, that he's warning of prophecies of the latter days from Malachi, that there's a destruction coming from Malachi, about the day that shall burn as an oven. And they that come shall burn them. Not Jesus, because thus saith the Lord. If you're going to believe it's literal history and not Jewish prophecy, you still should be smart enough to catch on that Jesus is not going to do any of the mass murders. So why are all the living prophets of Jesus saying that he is? What the hell? Well, I've already done the video explaining this to you. They're the enemy. Duh. And as the enemy, they've made forged documents with their theft of Joseph's religion and scriptures. And so, section 115, forged document. You can tell, first, because of the date that it's claimed to have been given, when there are no primary source documents for that date of this document that all of a sudden appeared in Brigham Young's 1876 Doctrine and Covenants, the year before he died. All of a sudden, a whole bunch of these kinds of documents appear, going contrary to the Book of Mormon, to Joseph Smith, having no source document to establish their validity, just appearing, creatio ex nihilo, violating all laws of agency and love. And so, for thus shall my church be called in the last days, even the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Nope. Nope. Section 116. Oh, we do have the original document of this one. Oops. Because when you're doing forensic investigation, linguistic analysis for documents to identify if Mark Hoffman forged it or not, you have to make sure that the ink is of the time period. And so the document shows that it was a continuation of a previous document written about 40 years earlier. Even Mark Hoffman is smarter than that. So yes, section 116 was 40 years later when it was written. And the whole myth of Joseph Smith going to Spring Hill and declaring it's Adam on Diamond, and all these rocks, these are the altar that Adam offered sacrifice. All forged. A lie. Amazing. And so, yeah, that was the headquarters of the Danites. And Thomas B. Marsh exposed it because, oh my God, what the hell are you doing? Creating and putting in section 117, Brigham. Oops. And so, continuing on the subject of Adam on Diamond, which is why he put them in that order. where Bruce R. McConkie got it wrong. Adam on Diamond does not mean the land where Adam dwelt. That's the plains of Olaha Shinar, which was supposed to be decoded, Bruce R. McConkie. Why didn't you decode this for the 1981 edition? You missed a bunch. Like Babylon in section 1, verse 16. What is Babylon, Bruce? Bruce? Babylon fell with the Persians. Who's Babylon, Bruce? Verse 11. See if you can catch it. Let my servant, Newell K. Whitney, be ashamed of the Nicolaitan band. That's from the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verses 6 and 15. It's in the footnotes. Which means that also needs to be decoded. Which band is it, Bruce R. McConkie? Which band? Why didn't you decode it? And of all their secret abominations. Who is it, Bruce? Who? And of his littleness of soul before me, saith the Lord, and come up to the land of Adam on Diamond, and be a bishop unto my people. Yep, Thomas B. Marsh. This is why George Albert Smith claimed that he was excommunicated by Joseph Smith, even though he was in Liberty Jail, for defending his wife's honor. Because Thomas B. Marsh wrote the affidavit exposing this right here. It's the Danites. That was their secret headquarters in Adam on Diamond, and Newell K. Whitney was the bishop, unauthorized, because it wasn't Joseph, with the bishop's storehouse for all the loot that they plundered after burning down the villages, murdering the men, and raping the women. And that's why Thomas B. Marsh left the church. And he believed that Joseph Smith was the leader, because they told him so. Why would they lie to him? But nonetheless, Joseph Smith now tells Newell K. Whitney to be ashamed of them? Oh, Mormons, these are so easy to spot when you use the right interpretation. And so, yeah, section 118, this is concerning the 12, and so, yeah, the forged document. They're setting it up in advance of the war that they would cause. Section 119, oh, hell yes. Which is interesting, because this one, Brigham Young immediately forged right after Joseph Smith was assassinated, and used it for his economy as he's now taking over leadership for those of his merry band of men in tights. And they were the missionaries who had already been lying to everybody about the wrong name of the church, and that were Christian instead of Jewish. And so, yeah, all of this was plotted by Brigham Young the whole time. All of it. And there he goes. Now he destroys the economy by ignorant Mormons who know no better. Because he says, Joseph Smith, July 8th, 1838, right after the failure of the Kirtland Safety Society, which we sabotaged. We took out loans, didn't pay them back. It collapsed. What a shock. And so, God, this is what they use. And in here, all of these forged documents, you can see what they're plotting and how they're going to run their kingdom in a coming day. Because in here, it says in verses 5 and 6, Verily I say unto you, it shall come to pass that all those who gather unto the land of Zion shall be tithed of all their surplus properties, and shall observe this law, or they shall not be found worthy to abide among you. And I say unto you, if my people observe not this law to keep it holy, and by this law sanctify the land of Zion unto me, that my statutes and my judgments may be kept thereon, that it may be most holy, behold, verily I say unto you, it shall not be a land of Zion unto you. Catching on to this? The church prophets tell you that Jesus is coming to burn you, but in the context of you better pay your tithing or Jesus is gonna burn you. And here in section 119, get the hell out of Salt Lake City or Utah, Nevada, Idaho, Colorado, Arizona, maybe Wyoming, maybe Montana, Alberta, the 51st state. If they only knew what Trump was up to, they wouldn't panic as much. Because what Trump is doing to America, to have every state be independent and sovereign and run their own government, likewise, he's doing it for every nation on earth. And thus weaken Europe so that Putin can then go in and attack. And so who's going to come in and attack America? Interesting. It'll depend on whether Trump wants to remain as president or if he's just going to take his money and run and abandon America as a divided nation. And whoever wants to come in and grab America, which China has been really pushing for it, but Trump hates China. Does he? Are you sure? And so, yeah, we've got some very dangerous times ahead, guys. But every single anti-Mormon, anti-Christ, apostate, Korahor are going to be booted out of Utah. Do you guys see this? You're not paying tithing, are you? The church gets control over the whole state of Utah in the coming day because Trump is giving authority to the states to run everything. Social Security, that's a federal funded program. He's shutting it down, he's stopping the programs, he's firing everybody. The states now will have to take care of the poor and the needy, the sick and the afflicted and the elderly, all who use it. And what is horrifying is that we all knew it was coming. It's in Project 2025. Trump himself at his rallies said it's coming. And then when Trump says, Project 2025? I don't know anything about that. I take pictures with lots of projects. Talk to my lawyer. You believe them? Seriously? Dear God. It's over halfway completed. We've got a half to go. 500 pages more to go. Dear God, guys. 3rd Nephi chapter 7 is happening right before your eyes. This was their plot for 200 years. And Oaks got leaked saying, yeah, we're doing it. And we're blaming Jesus. Mormons should be instantly horrified, believing that it's all literal history, that it's Jesus who's going to do it all, that Nelson comes out and says, in a coming day, Jesus, but there's no Jesus, but everything is happening. Just without Jesus. And you're not horrified that you got conned? That you're wanting to claim you don't see it? That you're still waiting for Jesus? The prophet said he's coming. Where is he? Trump is Jesus, you dumbasses. Oaks got leaked. God. You do not see the enemy because you're so caught up on believing all of this is true according to your interpretation that they led you to believe, that you don't understand. And ex quo nevermos. You think, well, I left the church, I'm safe now. It's just my family and Mormons that I associate who attack us, try to shame us, guilt trip us, bully us, and name call us. You're not getting it. This is what the church has planned, guys. You're out. If you do not come crawling back begging to be taken care of, to lose your honor and integrity as Avraham Gileadi did. As Chuck Schumer did. He's now going on the interview tour. I did nothing wrong. I'd do it again. I love you, Trump. I love you. Oh my God. And so, yes, they come out and tell you you have to obey, taking away your agency, or you will burn. Not just pay. And we've all witnessed those in Southern California, Mormons, who lost their homes to the burning. Yeah, the fire insurance isn't helping them. Holland went down and said, our hearts are with you. Sucks to be you. Jesus burned their homes down for being faithful tithe payers. And thus, Bruiser McConkie, there's no guarantee you're going to be protected. Who the hell said you were going to be protected? Bruce, come on. Tell him you'll know no better then than you know now that Jesus is real. Give a distraction for them before we take your life for your violation of the Temple Covenant path and exposing it. If they are the evil, It is not beyond them doing that. Right, Elder Scott? Right, Elder Scott? Devil does not support his own. They have no problems murdering people to get their goal, their final solution. And so, yeah, section 132. Polygamy. All Mormons are in denial that Nelson changed the law of chastity to polygamy, because not a single Mormon is practicing it. There are Mormons committing adultery, but they're not practicing polygamy. There are Mormons who are raping girls, but they're not practicing polygamy. They're not dipping down into the 11-year-olds to practice polygamy. Nelson lowered the age. The prophets consider you wicked for not being obedient when you think you are, because you're staying away from my videos and posting videos about how true the church is and how Jesus is coming anytime now. We're on high alert. Wait, is that Jesus? Oh, no. Is that him? No. There he is. No, that's a squirrel. Oh, no, honey badger. That was for you. You know who I'm talking about. And so, yes, we've all been told polygamy's coming back for the millennium. And here Nelson saying these are the latter days. Jesus is about to come. He's here. He's mass murdering people. He's destroying the federal government. The second coming. And so, yes, polygamy. And men think, yay, I'm going to get extra wives to have sex with. Boy, you're stupid. You think that the church is going to reward you for your loyalty when, oops, remember, the devil doesn't support his own. The women and girls will first go to the leaders, and then there's none left. You didn't pay attention to Brigham Young. That's why Brigham Young had brothels built to reward Orrin Porter Rockwell at the point of the mountain. And then when Brigham Young started to get divorced from his wives, he needed comfort, and so he had one at Regent Street, Commerce Ave. And thus calmed the men who did not get a wife, let alone multiple wives, to be obedient, to be celestial, as was the promise. Only those who are polygamist go to the highest degree of the celestial kingdom. And so, if you are not obedient, you go to a lesser kingdom, guess what gets chopped off, guys? You don't need it. You're not worthy. And so, as a type and shadow of such an event in the afterlife, what do you think the church is going to do when they get their kingdom back? All the women are taken by the leaders. You have none. You have to be a slave to the church. But you're a guy. You have temptations of the devil to want to breed. You're wicked. Chop. We don't want you raping the prophet's harem. That's his property. They are his chosen vessels. And so, yeah, there will be an economy. Despite our second Nephi chapter 26, after defining priesthood or priestcraft, don't have an economy in Zion. Church is going to have an economy. Section 119. Law of consecration, we'll call it. The eunuch slaves will be forced into servitude, because that's the temple covenant path. You swore an oath of death penalty to obey it. You have to work all day and possibly all night, depending on what project you're assigned to. And you get a little dump to sleep in, because that's all you need. You're serving Jesus. And so, yeah, they'll give you a minimal amount of food to keep you alive. You won't have access to any form of entertainment. They'll tell you that serving Jesus is itself its own reward. You will be kept from women, because they all have to be breeders. Women will no longer be given an education, no longer go on missions, no longer get a career. They all have to be barefoot pregnant in the kitchen year after year after year after year after year after year after year until they can't produce a baby no more. And then what good are you? Well, you still have to take care of the babies you produce until they're all growed up. The girls until they're 11 years old to be assigned to a priesthood leader. The boys to either replace the priesthood leaders or become one of the slaves. Chop. So, yeah. So after the last child, that woman has until that child is old enough to determine its fate. So if you want to live longer, you want to hope that the last child is a boy. It's all right here in scriptures, guys. They're forged documents. None of this is made up. Do you not understand? If you don't pay tithing, you're out. If you don't obey the law of polygamy, you're unworthy. If you don't obey the word of wisdom, you're out. You're going to be burned. They're going to murder you. Because the scriptures say very clearly, it's not Jesus that's going to do it. It's the enemy. And the church is saying they're the enemy. The Book of Mormon is telling you, warning you, begging you, pleading with you to listen of the utter destruction of the people that is potentially coming. That if you reject your Christ, who's Jewish, mortal, human, just like Joseph, that you will be utterly destroyed. Because the Jewish Christ wants to save your sorry ass for your rebellion, and your terrorism, and your hatred. And you try to turn it back on me. Why do you hate us so much? Bleep you. Do I still have that, or did it get transferred? Hope I have it. See, a woman came to the one about the Relief Society, Church News. There is no love taught to LDS Mormon women. And so an LDS Mormon woman, Jada woman, put down, you look like you have crazy eyes. She has been denied going to Zion. She refuses to go. She did not listen to the video. And so she had no logical, sound argument to defend the church with. And she demonstrated that she hates with an emotional response. Mormons don't get it. Hate means you're stupid, that you're incapable of proper, loving communication, to debate soundly. And she fell right into the trap of exposing those who are wicked, as a wicked person herself. So yes, that's why Trump is doing away with the Postal Service, so that all postal matters will be dealt with the states. That's why the IRS is now working with ICE. They're using them as the informers, the blacklist, to identify those that Trump wants out to purge America with, before he then does away with it, as the states now run supreme. But none of the states are prepared. They knew it was coming. Not a single one of them are prepared. That's why Utah is panicking. Even though Governor Cox says, yeah, it's a great idea. Oh, really? We're stopping the education of our kids? Awesome. I think this is for the best. This is because he's told so by the church. Curtis, for Social Security, he was told so by the church. Both Cox and Curtis are third great grandsons. Cox may be fourth. Of a Danite in 1838 that framed and blamed Joseph, and then paid Brigham Young in their secret combination economy as the Judas price to have Joseph murdered. And here they are, the descendants. And that's what it means in 3 Nephi 7 that I didn't finish reading that verse. And we'll do it now in conclusion. And the regulations of the government were destroyed because of the secret combination of the friends and kindreds of those who murdered the prophets. Somehow, somebody who wrote the Book of Mormon knew Joseph Smith and Hiram were going to be assassinated, because they're the only ones who are prophets, nobody else. Not the 12. Nope. I don't see that in the scriptures. How did that happen, Brigham? It's blatantly obvious. It's all right there for you. You just have to search your scriptures and study them.